All right, we're live. Hey guys, happy Thursday. It's Ted Bogert on The Ted Show. Very excited to have a returning guest, my friend, Orange County property appraiser, Rick Singh. Welcome to the show, Rick. How are you?
Ted, how are you? It's been a while, but
It's
doing well considering the circumstances. I remember the last time we got together for this show. There was no social distancing required.
You sat right next to me.
Exactly.
I miss those days a little bit. Like
Yes. Seems like eons, huh?
it does. It does. So, I think the world knows you, but it's good for those who don't to give a little background on you, and then we can take a deep dive into what's going on in our property appraiser world here in Orange County.
Sure. So I'm the state certified property appraiser of Orange County. I am officially a constitutional officer. So my office is independent of Orange County government. That's a big misnomer. A lot of people confuse us for being part of Orange County government. While we interact with Orange County government, we get funded by Orange County government. We are an independently elected constitutional office, I should say, and I am an independently elected constitutional officer. So I'm one of 67 in the state of Florida. We are essentially mandated and governed by the Department of Revenue. And my job, quite simply, is to assess the assets of Orange County. Orange County is a vast county. Last tax roll, I believe, was $208 billion worth of assets.
Wow.
Those assets divvy up into commercial properties, residential properties, and then tangible personal properties, which are businesses. Orange County is a unique county, Ted. It's the most unique county in the world. And I say that with no joking because it's the only county in the world, when you think about it, that has 7 theme parks, 84,000 hotel rooms. And the hotel rooms are tremendously potent in terms of ADR, average daily rates. Vegas may have more hotel rooms, but they give the rooms away. Here in Orange County, the rooms come at a prime. So hotel rooms, we've got timeshare. We have ground zero for timeshare. So we have ground zero globally for a lot of assets in the county. And my job is quite simply to assess those assets and to keep them straight. The value that I derive as the property appraiser is then given to the Department of Revenue. They put those values under strict test. We've received A+ marks from the Department of Revenue every year since I've been in office. My position is an elected position. I got elected in 2012 and became the first certified appraiser in the history of Orange County. So my background is being a real appraiser.
And then which is so unique, right? I mean, that's
yeah, you would guess. And then I got reelected in 2016 by a wide margin, and I was very, very fortunate to get reelected by the people. And I am in the office now, and I'm up for reelection again this cycle. So that's a little bit about the office, a little bit about me.
So let me ask you, because I think a lot of people think that the property appraiser is the one who determines how much property tax. It's all sort of interrelated. So pretend you're talking to me, which is really what you're doing, and dumb it down as much as you possibly can and kind of explain to people, because I think people get, you were talking earlier, I think they get confused. Is it part of Orange County? Is it not? Is Rick the one that determines how much I'm paying on this house for taxes?
That's a great question.
Good to know.
That's a great question and a very important question for my office. So as I indicated earlier, the Department of Revenue certify our tax roll. So we come up with this large document. It's actually 40 million data points, a very intricate document that we send to the Department of Revenue. And then they will sign off on it and send it to the local municipalities. Orange County has 16 municipalities. City of Orlando is one of those, the city of Eatonville, Maitland, and so on. So those municipalities, as you know, Ted, have budgets. So they will utilize property taxes to determine their budget. So they will apply a factor, which is called a millage rate, and that will derive money from property owners. So each property owner will pay their little portion of taxes for that municipality to pay their fees like infrastructure, police officers, school teachers. All of those things are paid from property taxes. So it's very, very important that the property appraiser be qualified and know what the heck he's doing, but more importantly that it's fair and equitable. And I have been tremendously fair and equitable in my position.
So tell us what a day is like in a property appraiser's world, because I think people don't know. Like they have a vision. I had somebody say, "Well, does he go out and actually look at the properties?" And I said, "Well, I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure you have a team."
So I am a state certified appraiser, and I do go out and actually look at properties, interesting properties. If I get a property owner that call me, and I interact with staff and I have a question, I typically like to put my own eyes and put my own boots on the ground, because as an appraiser, that's the only way to really see it firsthand and get the feel for it. So I do actually go to properties myself when I have to, and it's always a joy to go out and meet taxpayers and see properties. Agricultural properties, I'll do drive-bys. We now have implemented drones, so we're doing a lot of drone footage. But yes, I do go out and see these properties myself on occasion. They are, about 600,000 parcels in Orange County. So to see all of them, it would be impossible, but we do see what we can.
So speaking of drones, that leads me to my COVID question. A lot of people wanted to know what kind of impact has the quarantine, the lockdown, COVID-19 had on the property appraiser's office, and then ultimately, of course, on all of Orange County.
So I'll give you a quick a rundown of what we did. As you know, COVID-19 was announced early March, and on March 16, we closed our lobby to the public. My concern was safety to the public, but also safety to my employees. So through social media and earned media, we alerted the residents that our lobby is going to be closed, but they can contact us via phone or via online. At the same time, I increased the capabilities of our website. We launched a artificial intelligence tool called Ask Rick, and quite simply, it's an AI tool to respond to taxpayers. So we've launched that and enhanced that. And modify it some. So during the days, we have a live person answering and working with the chatbot to talk to taxpayers. During around March 16th or so, we deployed most of our staff to be remote. And on March 23rd, so this is starting on the 16th and ended on the 23rd, which is about a week, we were 100% remote. I think we were the first organization in the county, if not the state of Florida, to be 100% remote. And think about that for a moment. That's 150 employees, moving them completely remote and making them completely functional. They didn't miss a beat. So kudos to my staff, kudos to my technology staff, mainly, and the entire staff really for adapting and making it functional. Field appraisers were using desktop methods, inspection, eliminating, the intrusion on homeowners. A lot of homeowners at that time were starting to work from home. So the last thing they needed is, a government person knocking on their door and disturbing them. So we pulled back a little and had our staff work from home. We supplemented the home inspection with aerial imagery. We have one of the best aerial imagery in the world when it comes to aerial imagery. So many people don't know, but my office, we fly the entire county on right around the first month of January, and we've been doing that historically. So we have aerial imagery to document the site of the property as of January. Then we have drone footage. We've implemented drone, so we have drone footage. So our appraisers really didn't miss a beat with regards to inspecting properties. They are actually ahead of production in terms of getting the tax roll done. So this coronavirus has affected us, but did not affect us, tremendously. We didn't miss a beat. We continued serving the public and continue to serve the public. The support for property and business owners on March 26th, I granted an extension for certain deadlines because those were things that were important to business owners. They had these deadlines that they had to meet. So we relaxed that. Property appraisers have discretion. So I utilized that discretion and granted a 45-day extension on tangible personal property filing, personal TPP, tangible personal property, from April 1st to May 15th. So that's granted, and we're talking about re-extending that extension. On April 1st, 2020, we extended the deadline for commercial property owners to deliver to us their income and expense statements. This is a document that business owners provide to us, and we extended that deadline to them. On March 8th, we announced that the agency would be delaying any legal processes for filing liens against homeowners that were benefiting from, unqualified exemptions. So as you know, part of our charge as the property appraiser is to process and implement exemptions. There are many exemptions, homestead exemption being the most popular. But part of that charge also is qualifying and ensuring that everyone is paying their fair share. So what we would do is also lien properties when we find folks not playing but playing by the rules. But we've relaxed that because we want to do a thorough investigation of those issues. So we've relaxed any of the lien filing until we can get back out to the field and talk to folks and actually do a proper investigation. There's a lot of added value to the community. Better inform the community. Our staff has created a web page, which really is a website within our website about coronavirus. So if you go to our website, ocpafl.org, it has indication of coronavirus from the county, from the state, from the nation, and even the world. You can see how coronavirus is affecting Australia if you go to that site. And utilizing GIS. GIS is a mapping technology that we're leaders in at the Property Appraiser's Office in Orange County. So what we've done is created an interactive map. And this is through an app that we have at the Property Appraiser's Office. So you can go to the App Store and download our app. And what this enables you to do is basically see on a map how close you are to a drugstore, how close you are to a medical facility, how close you are to many things in Orange County, the emergency room, to basically help taxpayers understand, just give them another tool in their toolbox to utilize. This app also, alerts taxpayers as to special events and happenings at the Property Appraiser's Office. We do a tremendous amount of outreach. So a lot of our activities, we would talk to taxpayers and communicate with taxpayers through this app.
Let me ask you, what's up next as things begin to open up, which they've started to open up, or the governor's opened up, our mayors have opened up. Are you going to go back to the way things were, or have you guys kind of embraced the things that you've had to use to adapt and to still continue to do your jobs? Are you going to have a mix of that, or just go back to the way things were?
That's a great question, Ted. We had kind of a preview of coronavirus, and we have that preview almost every year because our office, as many of you may or may not know, is responsible for assessing damages after a catastrophe, after a storm, after any type of emergency activity in the county. So we practice for this type of environment. So we have implemented in the past a lot of these methodology, best practices that we've learned from being distant from the office. Being distant for this period of time has its benefits in terms of new methodology. We may look at something and tweak it. So I think going back to the office, we've learned a lot. We will modify and we will implement some changes as we see fit.
So what does the growth look like just from the real estate? Because we have a lot of realtors that watch, right? So they always want to know, and they ask me, what's going on in Orange County from Rick's perspective? What's happening in the real estate world from Rick's perspective? Because you do have your finger on that, and you're on the pulse of that, since you're appraising all of the real estate that's in Orange County.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because many of the realtors don't know that I used to be a broker. I used to own a Century 21 franchise. And
I did not know that.
I live that world, and it's a very exciting world. And we put a lot of tools on the website to support our realtors. So Orange County, so the property appraiser always appraise 1 year in arrears. So what we're seeing right now, that's going to come out in a few months from the tax roll, is going to be last year's growth. And that is healthy. That is tremendously healthy. A bird's eye view of it. I can't give away the exact number yet because it hasn't been certified, but the growth has been consistent. We've seen double-digit growth since I've been in office, since 2012. Orange County has seen double-digit growth. Now, Ted, I'm glad you mentioned that because we were very curious as to the effects of coronavirus and the effects of properties. So we've put together a very detailed, in-depth study on the effects of coronavirus on the residential market. That's going to happen in about 30-40 minutes at 11 o'clock today. There's a webinar. I encourage your listeners to go to the Property Appraiser's website, ocpafl.org, and log into that webinar. It's a great webinar. It's free. And that we will take a deep dive into what's happening in the entire Orange County residential market. I think there's a lot of surprises. So I urge your listeners to go and check it out.
So we've got scrolling across the bottom, we do have the website, guys, ocpafl.org. You can go there and look at 11 o'clock. I think that's what people, they know that there's some stability coming back and whatever that looks like. And so they begin to look back to the offices like the property appraiser and go, all right, so what am I dealing with? What do I have coming up? All right, you mentioned your office. You've been in since 2012. And I ask anybody who comes on who's running for office again, why? What is it that you want to accomplish in the next, because it's a 4-year term, if I'm doing that right. What do you want to do next? What is it that you want? What's the impetus for you continuing to run?
So Ted, that's a great question you've asked. My first 4 years, 2012 to 2016, I attended Harvard's executive study course and took a course there on executive training and really developed a really wonderful staff. My staff today, Ted, has a combined experience of 1,000 years of appraisal experience at the property appraiser's office in Orange County. So attracting the staff and keeping the staff and putting together a wonderful team was my focus. The second course, I actually attended Wharton Business School and their executive training program, and really looked at numbers. So we looked at the numbers. We ensured that we were using the right methodology. We ensured that we were using the best practices, and really honed up the numbers of this office to make it tremendously efficient. Quite recently, I attended a class at MIT focusing on artificial intelligence. So my next 4 years, I want to leverage technology more. Now we are the standard bearer for technology in the appraisal world, and I'm speaking globally. We get calls from all parts of the world as to how to leverage technology in a property appraiser's office. But I think as technology grows, we can advance that. So my next 4 years, I want to look at modeling. I want to look at simulation. I want to look at artificial intelligence and bring those best practices to the property appraiser's office. It's being used in private sector. I was a business owner. I understand private sector well, but I think it's very, very important for elected officials to bring private sector practice into government. Ted, I ran for office with a very prominent saying, and it was actually by one of the founding fathers of this nation. And he said, lend me your talents and skills as we forge ahead to build this nation. And what he was talking about way back then is still relevant today. What he was talking about was people from private sector coming to public service and bringing their talents and skills and implement that and inculcate that into government practice and serving the public. So the next 4 years, I look to leverage technology, continue to be the #1 office in the state of Florida for accuracy of assessment, continue to be the #1 office in the state of Florida for defense of assessment at the Value Adjustment Board, and continue to be the #1 office in the state of Florida for efficiency. in addition to that, I want to leverage technology tremendously.
It's awesome. All right, I have to read this. Rose Kemp said the Orange County Property Appraiser site is one of the best out there, extremely user-friendly and informative, and I love the new chat button with Rick's avatar. As a realtor in Orange County, I'm on this site daily. So I have to just go check it out just to see what your avatar looks like. Since that's
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I got to change the avatar and put a beard on the avatar.
Beard
now,
back on. All right, I ask everybody who comes on the show. We all have been dealing with this differently. So what have you done? What has Rick personally done away from work to stay creative, to stay positive, to, did you pick up did you read a new book? Are you reading more? Are you spending more time with family? What did you do to stay sane?
So what I did to stay sane was plant a garden. I planted a garden, started a garden that I've always wanted to do. My mother had a green thumb, God bless her. And I didn't even know I was gifted with this. So I started a garden. So I've got in my garden some hot peppers, habanero peppers. I plan to cultivate that and develop my own sauce one day. So I'm going to need your creative talents to come up with a name for this hot sauce. So I've got eggplants. I've got a white eggplant, an albino eggplant, traditional eggplant, and a Japanese eggplant. So I've got a garden with a tremendous amount of vegetables, garden vegetables. And then I've planted some trees. My yard is, I've really never had time to plant. My day is tremendously busy. So I've planted some exotic fruits. I've got mango. I've got a Brazilian cherry. I've got a soursop, which is very popular in Central and South America. So I've got some fruit trees that I'm really taking care of like they're babies. I go out there in the morning with my cup of coffee and I water these plants religiously and make sure I talk to them. Get my frustration out.
As you should. I love that because I think gardening can be very cathartic. Unfortunately, I don't have the green thumb. Somebody got me a very nice, beautiful plant, and it required a lot of sunlight and water. And so RIP to that plant because but I'm fascinated by gardening. I think it's so cool. And I love to hear people tell stories about gardening because I can see where it would be cathartic and you're growing something and you're out in nature. And so I love that. I love.
Yeah, I used to be very much like you in that I've always thought I didn't have a green thumb, and I went out there and kind of built this box. I built a planter. Actually, many of it, a lot of the pictures on Facebook. So I actually built this box and built a planter. I'm very good with my hands, so carpentry is something that comes naturally to me. So I built this box and built a planter and got the plants, and then I said, okay, let me actually plant this. Got some coaching from my wife about what fertilizers to use and all that. And then we planted, and lo and behold, watering it every day, it's coming to fruition as we speak.
That's so cool. I see my backyard and I think of all the lovely things I'd like to plant there. But I would need a lot of help. All right.
It's not as hard as you think.
What's the best way they can reach out to you?
So the website is always the best way. Go on the website. There's a feature there for them to connect with me. Again, I implore taxpayers to call me anytime. 407-836-5000 is our main line. And just ask to speak to Rick and they can contact me. Our email address is rick@ocpafl.org. That's rick@ocpafl.org. Actually, it's Rick Singh. Rick Singh at ocpafl.org.
Yes, I've got it. And if you guys just go to the site that's on there, it's always a joy to have you on the show, my friend. I think people really wanted to hear, real estate is such a driving force in our economy, and especially in Orange County. And so I think people were really wanting to hear an update from the man at the top.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And again, if you're interested in the webinar, just log on to the website. And you can on the right hand bottom corner, you could register for the website. It's still not for the webinar, I should say. It's still not too late, so I encourage you to check it out. It's got a lot of good information on the residential market and what's happening up to date.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Orange County Property Appraiser Rick Singh.
Thank you, Ted. It's always a pleasure.
I appreciate it so much.
Thank
you guys check out ocpafl.org. get on that webinar if you have an interest, because I think it's going to have a lot of, I know it's going to have a lot of great information.
A lot of surprises.
And lots of surprises. All right. Thank you. And thanks to Minnie, too. By the way, I got to give her a shout out live.
Yeah, she's the best.
She's absolutely the best. All right. We'll see you soon. Thank you, my friend. Guys, reach out. OCPAFL.org.
OCPAFL.org. You got it.